Hello everybody, Caitlin Silva here, founder of the Author Mentor, for those of you who are new to my community, and welcome. I'm so excited you're here, and just to give you a brief expectation setting, so I am doing a brief series where I am going to be sharing videos about writer's block and what causes it and what you can do about it. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about one root cause of writer's block, which is the naysayers, or the people who don't believe in you, who say you can't do it, who every time you try to share about your writing, they have some negative thing to say, or they offer nothing but criticism, or whatever that may look like in your situation. So as we're diving in, I'm going to share the 3 reasons why these people are wrong, and again, what you can do about it. So for anybody that has been writing for a long time, if you have been working on a book, or really any kind of writing in general, but this is more specifically for book writing, you know that writing is scary, right? It can be extremely vulnerable. It has the feeling of bearing your inside for the whole world to see, right? And it's like sharing the deeper inside parts that you keep hidden for fear of judgment or rejection, because of what you have learned is out there in the world as you have grown up. And so it's no news that the world of writing has drastically changed from where it once was in this new age that is digital, right? And so, you know, many people still definitely value a good printed physical book. Yes, the fact is that books and most forms of the written word are now digital, right? Especially with things like Amazon KDP or audiobooks and all of that, right? There's so many different options out there. And so, but despite that change, and despite the shift in the industry toward books going digital, one thing is still a fact, and that is no matter what form the book is in, it still has to be written by the writer, or you or me or any other writer, right? And so that's where things can get challenging, because the writing, as I mentioned, is scary. It's still vulnerable. It's still a process. And so one of the biggest, most paralyzing things that prevent people who want to write from actually doing it is fear, right? And a portion of that fear comes from outside influence. So others, friends and family, usually loved ones who have good intentions and they mean well, but they have said things like, oh, you know, when are you going to get a real job if your writing is your only thing right now? Or, oh, it's up to chance. Or, oh, you can't really reach the goals and dreams that you have as a writer. And maybe that's not verbatim what they've said, but that's the gist. They're trying to say that you're aiming too high, or you're dreaming too big, that what you think is possible isn't really possible for you as a writer, right? And so, you know, I have personally struggled with this throughout my years writing, especially with one of my first books. I remember at my book signing, someone that was a loved one came and was sharing all of the criticism that she had for me from reading the book. And I felt like during my first book signing was not the appropriate time. And so that was not fun. But my point is that I have struggled with this. I know the pain of having people that are critical and that are naysayers and that don't believe in you and what you envision for yourself and your writing. And so, you know, maybe you've experienced this. Maybe you've experienced something worse. Maybe you have had it where you shared about your story or your book, and every time that you shared about it, you know, the eyeballs roll, or they don't believe in you, or whatever, right? And so maybe you've experienced putting your writing out there, and you know, you're hopeful and you receive nothing but criticism, or people that you've valued their opinions had nothing but, you know, negative things to say. They didn't really believe in you or support you, and that really hurt. And maybe those experiences have created a major problem, one where you're struggling with writer's block. You know, you sit down and you have these ideas, it's not that you don't have ideas, right? It's that the negative self-chatter, the voice inside your head, is so constantly drowning out your ideas from the inner critic or the voices of those people that have put you down and just saying, oh, you know, it's not possible, or I can't, or my writing's not good enough, or whatever that looks like, right? Maybe that is drowning out your inner voice. And so the fact is, those naysayers have now become a root cause of writer's block, right? And so that's why I mentioned that they can be such a struggle. And so here's what I've learned through my struggle and through the books that I've written over the last however many years, several years that I've been writing books. And what I've learned is that there is always a place, a necessary place for feedback and for helpful criticism, as it helps to improve your writing and it helps to make you better, right? But naysayers, on the other hand, should be received with a grain of salt. And I say that because, as I mentioned, these people are usually loved ones, right? They're friends or family who mean well. So maybe you can't simply cut them out of your life, but it's okay to set boundaries with them and not to necessarily share about all of your writing and your writing endeavors and your writing dreams with these people, simply because then you don't open yourself up to that harm and that hurt. You keep it protected, right? Your writing state, I would say, is very special and unique and sacred, and so you need to protect it and keep it safe so that you can foster the correct muse and the correct inspiration and the correct internal space and external space for yourself as a writer as you are sitting down to write, right? So there are 3 reasons why these people are wrong about you and your writing, and also what you can do about it. So reason number 1 is that every writer has faced naysayers. From the most famous to the least famous, they faced the naysayers. Oftentimes these people, as I mentioned, they mean well. Maybe they just don't want you to get disappointed. They don't want you to get discouraged. They don't want you to put your hopes out there and then get dashed, and they don't realize that they are contributing to that problem, right? Every writer, like I mentioned, I mean, Stephen King, J.K. Rowling, C.S. Lewis, every writer has faced naysayers that didn't believe in them. And we'll talk about the self-rejection later, but specifically external people that say, oh, it's not good enough. And ultimately, it comes down to courage, right? The difference between the writers who go on to create communities of readers and to write is just that they had the courage to keep going and to believe in something more than the naysayers, and to believe in, you know, their idea and what they wanted to create and their vision and their own love for their own writing, right? And their ideas that they have. So if it's fiction, you know, especially that, it's believing in the vision that you have and your ideas. Or if it's nonfiction, believing that what you have can create impact, inspiration, and can truly help the readers that you are writing to and that you're trying to reach, right? So the second reason why these people are wrong is that your story is unique, it is valuable, your voice is unique and valuable as well. And I want to share with you that ultimately, in a world of several billion people, I mean, more specifically, like I think over 7.5 billion just in 2019, there are most definitely readers who are not only willing to read your work, but will enjoy it and will be benefited by it and will be inspired and impacted by it. There are people who frankly need your work. And the thing is like, I've heard so many people that are like, oh, there's so many books out there and there's so many writers and how am I supposed to stand out, you know? And the truth is that for the community of readers, they are always looking for new material to read. They're always looking for the next book or their next favorite author or the next author that they feel like is going to, you know, make a difference in their life. And, you know, frankly, not only that, but sometimes the way that you say something can impact someone in a completely new and different way, even if they've heard that same thing a million times before. For some reason, the way you said it, the way you shared it, the way you demonstrated it, that was the one that made the difference. And if you never put it out there because of a small number of people that don't believe in you, then that is such a loss, right? And so because the story, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, is truly coming from within. It is bearing your insides. It is scary and vulnerable, but at the same time, it is unique, and only you can share it in the unique way that you can, because only you have the specific experiences that you do and the voice that you do and say things in the way that you do, right? And so I just want to ask you a question about ultimately, when it comes to the readers that you know will be inspired by, impacted by, or even just entertained by, if it's fiction, your work. Don't you think that they deserve to have it, right? Don't you think that they deserve to have that book that will make a difference for them? And also, you deserve to have that joy of knowing that your work impacted them and made a difference in somebody else's life, right? So I want to share that with you, because if you do have naysayers that aren't believing in you, those are obviously not the ideal reader that you have, but there are so many others out there that will believe in you and that will benefit by your work. And so that leads me into the third reason why these people are wrong, and that is that they are only a small opinion. It's not factual, it is their opinion. And it's true, while often the naysayers, as I mentioned, they mean well, some of them may intend to be hurtful, but I hope not. I do think, for the most part, these people are friends and family, and they do mean well, and they just don't realize that what they're sharing is hurtful. And so I want to share with you something that I frequently share with my clients and with my tribe, and that is that writing should not be a journey that's made alone. It should be a journey that is made with others, but you need to make sure that who those people are that are pursuing it with you are people that are adding to you and benefiting, right? So I believe that writing is an adventure. It's a journey. It's like a marathon. It is not easy or simple at times, right? There's always the challenge. But it's important to have that person along, and who that person is so critical. And so having a writing buddy or a partner or a mentor can make such a huge difference, because that person can add so many benefits to the writing journey, right? That person can provide encouragement, a place to bounce ideas off of, support in believing in you where the naysayers have cast that doubt. Other benefits are, they understand, they get it, because they're a writer along with you. Most of the time, if that's the case, they can provide guidance, especially if it's a mentor that's supporting you, accountability. There are so many benefits that make such a huge difference, and I can tell you that they have made the difference for me, and also for the people that I work with, the writers that I help to actually overcome struggles and to write and publish their books. So I mentioned in the beginning that writing can be vulnerable and scary, but I also want to share with you that it is powerful, right? It can be healing. It can be life-changing. Even fiction, fiction and nonfiction alike. It doesn't matter what your genre you're writing. A book can still have huge impact through the story and through the character's development and journey, whatever that looks like. And so really it comes down to having the courage to pursue your idea, your book, no matter what anyone else thinks, and believing in the idea that you have, again, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. And if you are struggling with naysayers, I want to challenge you to take it as a chance to prove them wrong, and let this become something that propels you and gives you a fire, rather than letting it douse your flame, and letting it get to you in a way that's you're believing in these people that are a small portion of the world. Let it be something that gives you extreme motivation to show them exactly what you can do, instead of letting them make you falsely believe that you can't, because you can. And so I want to invite you to have courage and just write the book. Whatever that idea is for you, it's time to say enough is enough, to say I will do this, and to write it and make a difference. So again, I am Caitlin Silva, the author mentor. That is this video for this series, and I hope that you will stick around and join me for more videos in the future. Bye for now.